In this video, I'm going to talk about the recently launched Devil May Cry, Peak of Combat and its controversial gameplay. What can you expect about this game as a DMC? This is based only on my experience as a style player. Most people know me for playing DMC and having an attractive gameplay, executing the hardest techniques, and trying to be as stylish as possible. Most of the stuff in this game is tied to the gacha, characters included. However, even with the free characters, you can get an experience of how the gameplay works. If you like it, you'll certainly put effort, or even money, to acquire the characters you most like. And if you don't, then probably it is not the game for you. First of all, Dante doesn't have guns in any of his variants. You can say that the mechanics for this game changed entirely. For example, Lady is a ranged character using only guns, while Dante pretty much attacks from melee range in all the variants. Somehow, if you stop looking at this game as a classic DMC, you'll find some logic in the changes they made. However, taking off guns from Dante makes anyone angry, myself included. The meta is having a formation of 3 characters, preferably from the same element and different classes to complement each other. The moveset for each character is very limited on its own. That's why the game relies entirely on character switching to be fun. This may not be a bad idea, but right now it has a huge problem. The optimization of the gameplay as a whole takes away the fun. At some point it is very frustrating to dodge precisely, but somehow you get hit because the game doesn't recognize your inputs. And you'll experiment this problem with character switching very often. Every time you want to switch, you'll hit a small delay that can change everything in battle. This doesn't happen only while switching, but also trying to cancel long animations from your characters. If you know Punishing Gray Raven, you'll notice how the gameplay is very fluid and you can instantly dodge and switch your characters with no delay at all, canceling animations if needed. This is something that Devil May Cry needs to prioritize at most, considering it the peak of action games. Beware, I'm going to bring PGR often to make my analysis to show how a really good gacha game is possible. The buffering is also really annoying. The game doesn't recognize inputs in advance, and this lends to the problem of looking how your character stands still after doing a certain action, just because it didn't recognize the input you made less than a second ago. This could be solved when you need to press a button by just mashing it, but if you need to execute something with precise timing or holding a button to make a certain action, it is definitely problematic. To play the game properly, you need to form a team from the same element. The key to have a good DPS team is triggering the QTE of each character as much as you can, resulting in making rotations all the time, as the characters from the same element can trigger their QTE very easily. Rotations are the meta for Peak of Combat. You want to switch anytime your other characters are available and ready to enter with their QTE move, maximizing the damage done. Low height tends to be a problem too. The characters may join the battle with a landing pose and not being able to execute any move until they hit the ground, meaning this system is not polished at all to work as intended. When you're far from an enemy and you start hitting the air, your character starts to have magnetism, pushing yourself to the enemy without needing to move. This is a good idea to avoid unnecessary movement to reach your targets. However, not all characters have this benefit. Jump cancel exists in this game and you can buy it for free for each character. There's a big problem though. It is almost useless. Just like I said, the meta are rotations and you'll switch characters way more often than using jump cancels. Switching puts you right in front of your targeted enemy, so it is more convenient. As for why jump cancel is useless, it is because there are not so many moves that benefit from it. Jump cancel reset your actions, but if you don't have enough actions to reset, it becomes useless and in result you prefer to switch character to cancel your current character's move. The moveset for each character is so limited that you'll use all the moves you have in one rotation, and there won't be a need to use jump cancel at all. If you insist and want to use it for making combos, you'll find that it is very annoying to use because of the unpolished system we talked about earlier. The lack of buffering means you need to leave a small delay between a clean jump and the next move, and this is a huge problem for a Devil May Cry game. The core of the gameplay has a lot of problems that can be solved, but it is necessary to solve them. However, as you progress on your account, you may find fun making some combos in the air, switching characters on the fly, and making effective rotations to clear the rooms as fast as possible, trying to avoid the clunkiness of the gameplay. What I find curious is that Punishing Gray Raven is not a game made for combos, and it's leagues better for that than this Devil May Cry. The technical difference that encourages you to keep trying to create something visually pleasing is the key. You'll stop trying to be stylish in Peak of Combat because you'll feel frustrated if you want to make a jump cancel, followed by a helm breaker from any move, because the buffering for holding a button is non-existent after a jump, resulting in your character just jumping and dropping the enemy. That being said, in PGR, players started to show how stylish the game can be without necessarily following the meta, and without having a jump button. For example, the characters in PGR can carry themselves alone, resulting in being capable of doing amazing boss battles without needing to rely on other characters. Even the most basic character can offer a very good and visually pleasing battle. This is something that Peak of Combat definitely needs to offer because, after all, it is a Devil May Cry game. If the developer starts to prioritize how the game feels and the combat mechanics without needing to revamp the whole system, this game can become way more enjoyable. Right now, the gameplay as a whole feels like a generic and unpolished gacha with Devil May Cry characters in it. Not all characters feels the same, as some feels clunkier than others, but definitely there's something that needs to be polished before thinking on making more characters, and that's the optimization of the combat as a whole. For my conclusion, this game can be good with the proper management. The base is not bad, there's replayability due to the competitive aspect of PvP and PvE. There is the meta for any gacha game which is scoring higher than the other players, and also, this being a Devil May Cry means that can create an off-meta for any player who want to make combos in the practice mode, or showcase stylish boss battles without needing to pursue the highest ranks in competitive, just like PGR does with boss battles. Here is the end. Write me in comments what do you think about the gameplay of this game and how it can be improved. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share.